From Plant Lab in Austin, Texas, this is Stacker News Live!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Stacker News Live. My name's Car and Keyan. Crazy Friday, huh? Crazy week.
It has been a crazy week. Blub Lab has been very busy, which is very nice. I like it a lot, and I think we're all getting used to the change, which is exciting, and we're all settling in.
Yeah, it's been really busy, dude. Like, there's a lot of people here, and I'm still getting adjusted. Like today, we finally took care of those wires in the back, so the peeps in there are doing PBS now, and they want to bring back PBS, so they're doing that, which is cool. So tomorrow, the reason that we're recording out here, Stackers, is because we have a lot of really smart developers in the conference room working on some really hard problems. So I think next week, once we get the conference room fixed up tomorrow, we'll be able to get back to our regular Stacker News kind of green screen thing. So I'm looking forward to it because it's definitely a different feel when we do it remotely like this. So.
Yeah. Sorry for the audio, guys, but there are a bunch of shadowy super coders working on Core Lightning plugins. And
dude, did you hear some of the stuff that they were saying though? Just conversations this week, like some of they're more base than some of the influencers in the space, dude. Like the way they talk about and think about Bitcoin, like to me, that's been the most surprising thing hanging out with them this week is just how they think through problems and how like decentralization is always the goal. It seems. I don't know. I could be saying this wrong, but
no, I think that's fair. I mean, I think the influencers are following the devs. I mean, it wasn't like there were a bunch of Bitcoin podcasts, and then Satoshi released the white paper. It was the other way around. So, yeah.
Cool. We're going to jump into the top 5 stories of the week. If you haven't never seen Stacker News Live, I'd love to say that we cover the top 5 stories no matter what it's about. And so I think when you look at other podcasts won't cover the top 5 stories that are voted on Stacker News. But I like to take pride that we actually do. So this one's a special one just for that very reason. The first top story is my dad hates that I work in the Bitcoin industry. This is from November 9th. Bitcoin post, 44 comments, 39,000 cents from Mr. Toshi. What's this about, Keyan?
Yeah, this was this one got to the top pretty fast. So this one's about Toshi's experience working alongside a startup and visiting Austin, and I guess it sounds like he spent his he went through his savings for that, and is just kind of grappling with the reality that ended up occurring. I guess he says in here he feels like taken advantage of and ignored, and it's affecting his dad's relationship with Bitcoin because his dad now perceives what Toshi experienced with he associates it with Bitcoin, and so it's kind of a bummer because I like Toshi a lot. Toshi's like a really like probably one of the sweetest people I've ever known, and I spent time with him when I was here in Austin. And he says in here that he feels like he's cut off, and I wish I haven't he hasn't reached out to me, so I haven't had a chance to talk to him. I don't even have a way to communicate with him. I was only ever communicating with him in person, but I tried to respond to him on Stacker News. I don't think he replied there. So I hope he feels like his friends in Austin aren't ignoring him, because all of us, if he's listening, all of us do care about you. And the other thing Stacker News people might be interested in is Toshi's the one who designed the cowboy hat, and the which car does not. Car does not like the cowboy hat, but I think for separate reasons. I think aesthetically he probably likes it, but and then he also designed the cowboy without the cowboy hat on, and those are both things that I paid Toshi to do. I did pay him, to do those for me, and yeah, I miss Toshi. Anyway, that's his story. We got a lot of great comments in the thread, responding to it. I don't know, Car, if you have anything you want to say about
it. I think you read that. We get through the comments, but an anon post said, "I can offer my story if that helps. I'm also working a professional that tries to prioritize working with Bitcoin only companies. I have been very lucky with my resume and even the non-Bitcoin jobs I have enjoyed. You're working in a very small industry. Bitcoiners working professionally for companies know each other on a first name basis. You interview at companies and run into people who you worked at in previous companies." And I think the anon kind of post, if you read through it, he really hits home on the proof of work that you need and the professionalism and just a lot of the things that you need on your resume to be kind of taken seriously. And I think he really encapsulates that in the first post. But if you go through it, there's a lot there where they talk about, like this is typical in startup behavior. Not a lot of people know what they're doing, stuff like that. So I think for me personally, I think, obviously we still love and care about him. It sounds like he's going through a hard time right now. And yeah, man, pray for him. I always pray for him. So just wish him the best and hopefully he can get back on his feet. But yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he got a lot of supportive stuff in the comments. If you want to listen to more of or read more of that, you can read that there. But Toshi, I am here. I am on Stacker News. If you would like to communicate,
Keyan's ready to hire you.
I could use some more icon work if you want to do some more icons. So
there you go. Heard it here first.
Toshi's a designer. If anyone is looking to hire a designer, by the way. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Cool. The next top story is some thoughts on the game theory that results from BTC Wealth. This is from Ellis Mercury, November 7th. Bitcoin post. 73 comments, 17,000 cents. What is this about, Keyan?
Yeah, this is a good post. So, what happens if Bitcoin is worth like a ridiculous amount of money, and all of us plebs who are merely stacking sats, our sats turn into like meaningful amounts of money. He says here, like the premise says, imagine a future where one Bitcoin is worth $1 million. So even if you only have a few 100,000 sats, you're now rich, or you're now relatively comfortable. You're now worthy of being robbed. What do you do? And he describes here, he describes the security issues that are around that. And there was also this week there was a story out of Sweden where people were getting attacked. Bitcoin podcasters were getting attacked. And so that might have motivated this. But he goes through single sig and the fragility of that in such a world where you have where Bitcoin is worth so much money, and you have a single point of failure, and you are basically in the way of someone robbing you, and you will become you will become a casualty of them attempting to get your Bitcoin. And then kind of concludes that multi-sig and multi-sig like things, I think he would probably append to this are the solution. And and that might be how the game theory goes out. But then at the end, he adds that Andreas Antonopoulos is known, who likely holds a lot of Bitcoin, said that he is not in favor of multi-sig, but I assume he has some solution to that. Anyway, it was a great post, started a really great discussion. It's something that a lot of us think about, and there's a bunch of companies that help us with this kind of stuff, and a lot of products that help us with this kind of stuff, and we kind of get into it in the comments.
Yeah, do you remember Andreas, though? Andreas actually, I think he said publicly, he spent all his Bitcoin on all the education stuff that he was doing in the early days. Do you remember that? And then I think it was Roger Ver made fun of him because he spent all his Bitcoin, and because he would give it away. Remember when he was doing those talks in the early days? And then I think, if I remember correctly, I think in 2018 everybody gave him Bitcoin. This is when it was probably at 10,000 or something. If you remember that, but do you remember that?
I do remember that on Twitter. I remember
Yeah,
that on
yeah.
Twitter where he said he didn't. I mean, I think people would be really surprised that a lot of people to be in Bitcoin, they spend all their Bitcoin. I mean, we just read that story from Toshi. That was like where he went to zero. I think that's true for a lot of people in Bitcoin. I know several prominent people have way less Bitcoin than people would think, and
That was the thing that
it's
shocked
just
me. Yeah, in the
yeah,
early days was like meeting all these people who I respected and like read their blogs or stuff, and then come to find out that some of the things they were doing, like there was no money. Like no one was making any money. I was just like, what? That's why, like, if I had to do it all over again, Keon, I think I would have like stayed humble and stacked cents in my fiat job. It makes you. I mean, obviously, we don't do that for that reason, but it definitely. I think I thought differently at the time.
yeah. I think it depends on what your goals are, and like I care about some. I think what ends up happening for a lot of us is we care about Bitcoin's mission than we do our own personal wealth. We care about what it can do for like everyone and not necessarily just us, and so we're
Yeah,
willing to make that trade and not have as much Bitcoin as we might. Um, and
that's why I think
yeah,
like
anyway,
that's what.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm go for it.
No, I was just gonna say that's why I think like it's so important for a group of people to get together and like help each other with stuff because it's important to somebody to lean on during those times.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We got like we're all kind of the cool thing about working in something like Club Lab. If any of you have a place near you, is basically like all your friends are like free consultants on your. They'll just give you shit about your product, but that's valuable shit that they're giving you if you have the right ear for
Mhm.
it. They're informing you about stuff, and that will help. Um, that'll make it worth it on some level as far as the Bitcoin spend. It can at least. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is. We're all much poorer for our devotion to Bitcoin.
yeah. Got one from Block Talk. He says in Latin America, it's super common to find plots of land guarded by armored porteros, I think is that means. You pay a small administration fee and subsidy their salary along with their neighbors. They can call back up at a moment's notice. This is a model that works. It just isn't something really available in the West, only to truly wealthy. We'll see more of this. I expect the collapse of nations will leave a huge void when people realize the police cannot only no longer help them, but they may actively be working against their interests. Police may even be incentivized to use their positions as trusted people in society to raid people's homes. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
definitely
I'd say
true.
that it is even true of the porteros. Is how do you trust? How do you pick a portero that you trust? You're letting them. You're basically recreating the police problem, but giving them
Yeah,
much more personal access.
yeah, cool. The next top story is just a taste dash tipping in sats. This is from Gray Ruby, 29 comments, 8,038 sats. November 6th Bitcoin post. What is this about?
Oh, I think I actually missed this one on my
This is
review
not in
for
the
the
top
week.
five? Wait, is it not in the top
It
five?
wasn't. It is in the top five. For some reason I skipped over it in my review. So I don't have I don't have much to say on it. But
It looks
I
like
could try.
the champion of Bitcoin adoption, Dark Lords of Stacker News, Darth Coin, asked me to post this, and since I don't want to get called this SS or get force choked, I decided to oblige. And then he talks about every week, once, sometimes twice a week, my wife will put together an online pickup order. Originally, she was picking up these orders and giving the Walmart staff member that picked, packed, and loaded the order a $5 tip. One time I happened to be with her and I asked, it looks like he's tipping in Bitcoin. Cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
I
great.
missed this story this week. But it sounds like he's tipping people, a variety of people. He mentions both men and one woman at the beginning, and it sounds like it wasn't too hard to convince them. It's cool. I
Yeah.
mean, it's cool to see people trying to find ways to do this. I think I got one rejection attempting to tip a bellhop in Miami, Bitcoin, and I don't know if I've attempted. No, I tried to tip another woman at a bar like a year later, but it's hard.
We just
He makes it sound easy, but it's hard.
So we just met this guy across the street who runs this like apparently he's like bootstrapping this whole you should meet him. I don't know if you met him yet, but he runs that Sparks coffee thing. He's like convincing these real estate like places to give him coffee, like room for a coffee shop in the middle of their room or whatever, the main lobby. And he's convincing them, and then he's building out these like coffee shops. Anyway, so we've been talking to him this week. He knew what Plub Lab was. He even knew who I was, which was kind of shocking when I went in there the first time. And he's getting set up for Bitcoin.
Wow.
He's using Coinbase custody, which kind of sucks, but we're going to try to steer him
in the right direction. Yeah.
Oh, do they do that? Okay.
I
didn't know.
Yeah, they should. They should allow.
Or they can do it from the terminal though, or no?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't realize Coinbase has like a.
That's what he said.
Point of sale.
So he's going to get it, and we're going to test it next week or something. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, ideally, it'd be cool if you get like Zap right in there or something. I don't know how you would do it, but we're just not there yet.
Oh.
You could use IBEX.
I think that. No, I think there are tools. I mean, if you want, I'm sure Darthcoin would send you one of his guides on how to get set up with how to set them up. But he probably needs, like a thorough accounting system and
that's
all that kind of stuff.
Like,
I know.
I think Coinbase allows him to do like fiat, 70% Bitcoin, 30% fiat. I think that's the thing that he's looking for, and we just don't have that yet, unfortunately. But I think there's companies that are close to that, and so it makes sense for him. He's running like a business and bootstrapping it, but really cool guy. So it's definitely out there. People are listening, and then this is the way to do it. Just talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, his business idea sounds really cool. Like rather than like a coffee truck. I went to Spark. I went to Spark.
Oh, you did? Okay. Talk to him.
This week I didn't see him there though. There was a woman who was working there.
Yeah. So another thing he's doing too, he was saying that he's getting like artists to work during the day, and then they can display their art and stuff. So I guess she's an artist. So.
Oh. I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know that either. I mean, that's a cool idea too. He sounds like a really resourceful
he's been
person.
Doing it since 2017. He's been doing it since 2017. He said he finally figured it out like a year ago. He's been at it for 4 years. Crazy, right? Or 5 years, whatever.
It's so cool because Spark is like we went into Spark and we're like we're like in a lobby, but it doesn't seem like the main lobby. But it definitely seemed like space that wasn't getting used. So it's like, it's a really nice hack on like available space. So I think it's really smart.
Yeah, he's figured out something. It's like these collaborative environments. Cool. The next top story is a blog post. This is a very long and complex search query to find fascinating people. This is from Ellis Mercury, November 4th, meta post, 8 comments, 10,005 sats. What's this about?
Oh, this is a really great blog post. It's part like motivation to write, and it's part telling you how to become a successful or to become noticed as a writer. And it's just really well written by Henrik Carlson, and he's been writing on the internet for 15 years. But he describes. He describes the moment that he experienced where he finally had an article or an essay he had written become popular, and what that felt like and what that did for his writing, like him as a writer, like how it informed him as a writer, and how it changed his view of his writing. And it's kind of in the title in terms of how it changes view on like the goal of writing, and like one of the things that you can look forward to should your writing land in the right place and get in front of the right readers. And he describes how to get it in front of the right readers in here. But
that's cool.
it's basic. It's kind of like he calls it a search query, but it's more like a lighthouse where people can a lighthouse that's shaped a very particular way and has a very particular spectrum of light that other people who are attuned, who are looking for that lighthouse can find you. And he describes how much more rich it's made his intellectual life to have built such lighthouses and continue to build them. That's connecting him with people that he might not otherwise find, especially geographically, and the kind of conversations you have in text versus the conversations you have verbally are not really the same, because when we're writing in text, when I'm communicating with people on Stacker News, for an example, they're getting words that I could say, that they could say in, they could read in 5 minutes, that maybe took me 40 minutes to think through and write in some cases. And in a way, it's like elevating all of our intellectual abilities, which is kind of cool. Anyway, it's a really good post on like writing, in addition to finding an audience, and it doesn't just apply to writing. It applies to really any kind of public work or shareable work, digital shareable work specifically, and how you might make it popular and make it work for you, like the search query for people that you share interests with.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait to read it. I didn't know that's what this post was about. I enjoy writing a lot, man. I'm working on a piece right now about devotion, and it's hard to like take all these ideas. I have a tendency to put all my ideas on my phone, and then like after like 3 or 4 weeks, I'll have like enough of these little tidbits that I'll be able to formulate like a full on, just like a blog post on it. And lately, I've just been real selfishly writing, if that makes any sense. Like I write literally just for myself at this point. And this is just, in the beginning, I started doing it for, because I was like, oh, let me share my information. And these days, I'm literally just doing it for myself to understand how I look at things better. And so I've just been on that kick lately for the past 3 or 4 months.
That's
I enjoy
cool.
it. It's very therapeutic. It's very therapeutic, and it really relieves you of a lot of anxiety and stress when you write. So.
Yeah, it lets you get what would otherwise just be knocking around in your head out somewhere, and it's your head is a lot more calm and on straight. One of the things you reminded of me of when you said the reason why you write, or what you like to write. One of the things he described that I found really, really nice to hear was that he writes what he wished he could find and read. And
wow.
I found that really good, because that's exactly what I understand about product building is. That's exactly what you should be doing with product building. And it seems like you could probably generically apply it to any creative act, is like, what can't you find that you wish you could find, and make that for other versions of you out there that will eventually discover it. And it's really cool. I mean, it's not my idea. I think Paul Graham is probably he might have found it somewhere else, but he's popularized that idea more than anyone else. And the YC saying is make something people want, or make something people want. And he says, if you're looking for a startup idea, make something you want to use. And it's very similar. Write something that you want to read. And that's, I think, really cool.
I think one of the coolest things I love about, writing is going back and reading it later, and either doing one or two things. And for me personally, it's either just feel like, oh my God, I was so full of crap, or just like one of those, like just detested, or you'd be like, wow, that's actually really insightful. It's very rarely the last part, but when it does happen, you're like, because you think, I was like, what was I thinking about that time when I was thinking of this? Or it could be whatever it is, and you go back. It's really neat. Good one on Elvis Mercury. He always has a really good stuff I've noticed lately.
I mean, he's a writer. I don't know exactly. Elvis Mercury is quite, private, but they seem to be a writer. When I was complaining about my inability to write well, they gave me some tips that I think only someone who writes a lot would give someone. And yeah, it was pretty cool.
Cool. The next
Are you
top
there?
story
I think
is
we're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, can you hear me? The next top story is a blacklist of banks that block movements to or from Bitcoin related services. This is from Christoph. Plus this 23 comments, 7,427 cents, November 9th, Bitcoin post. What's this about?
Yeah, this is cool. Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of exactly what it says, and it's it's one of these cool like GitHub READMEs that allows anyone on the internet to kind of contribute to it. It's like a repository of basically facts. You frequently see them with like products or tools or things like that, but in this case, it's attempting to record banks that are anti-Bitcoin, taking anti-Bitcoin stance, and the way that they are taking an anti-Bitcoin stance. When this was originally published on Stacker News, it had 2 items in the table, and now it looks to have about 7 of them. But you can see like in the top, it says that JP Morgan Chase, they have a total ban on receiving, I guess, from an exchange, and then they I guess fiat from an exchange, and then sending payment limits, or that you also can't send fiat to an exchange as well. And then they list a few. Oh, I guess that's Chase UK specifically, not generically. There's another Commonwealth Bank of Australia. I guess Wise in Europe. It seems like a lot of European banks specifically, because I don't know of anyone having like this, like a user level problem with banks in the United States. I know companies that have a lot of trouble with them, but
like Stripe, Stripe is very anti-Bitcoin. I do know that.
Yeah, I'm not exactly. So I don't think Stripe itself is a bank, but I know that they're like a financial services company, and they're frequently an interface to your bank, and they will. That we have known them to deny people their services because they have some association with Bitcoin. But I've also heard of other banks. Just like I talk to a lot of founders. We have like a founders chat group, and one of the more common questions that comes up is like, what banks will allow me to bank with them? Because several of them end up getting denied starting bank accounts because they're a Bitcoin company. So yeah, this is a real problem.
Good putting this list together. It's definitely needed. You got Brian H. He said, here in the US, I haven't had any issues with Capital One. Elvis Mercury said, that's an interesting idea, a section in the repo of banks that are broadly known to be non-problematic for BTC related activity. Although I guess the burden of proof on that is harder. Brian responded back, yeah, there are a handful of banks that don't take issues with their customers transacting with Bitcoin or crypto services. Typically the newer neobank is friendlier. Yeah, I agree on the neobank stuff. Square. I know we're not talking banks. We're talking like financial platforms, but Square is really cool. Square gets it.
That makes sense. I mean, I think their Bitcoin business, I think, is making them billions of dollars a year in fees. So
yeah,
makes sense.
Cool. That's all the top 5 stories of the week, Stackers. We're going to jump into our favorite stories of the week. Keyan, this is yours. Lessons I learned as a lawyer, part 1.
Yeah, this is a really like heartwarming, I think, like sweet story from Siggy about I think this was the first case, one of his first cases that he took on, but it was a 19-year-old man in New York back in the 1980s. Siggy, so Siggy had just started as a lawyer, but he was playing craps and got caught playing craps, and was now getting prosecuted for gambling. And long story short, he walks into the prosecutor's office to discuss the case with the prosecutor, and the prosecutor asks him if he wants to join his NFL pool and what the buy-in is. And anyway, when the prosecutor brought up the case, and they began discussing the case about this kind of this illegal gambling, this kid playing craps in an alley somewhere, Siggy brought up to the prosecutor, well, how is that any different than your NFL pool? How is, that's illegal gambling by, New York state law. So, how are you going to prosecute this kid for doing something that you're doing, like in the halls of justice, I guess, really. And so he basically got the kid off with a non-criminal offense, and didn't go on his record or anything. Basically, Siggy saved the day is kind of the what happened in that story, because he recognized hypocrisy when he saw it, and in a way that the quote unquote bad guys in the story couldn't deny.
Yeah, I had no idea Siggy was a lawyer before. That's crazy.
Really?
It makes sense. Yeah, I didn't know he was a lawyer. He was previously a lawyer. We got Carlos Fandango in the comments. He said, a good outcome versus justice, I guess. Life shouldn't be made about these decisions by people who seem beyond the law. Just feels desperately unfair, and it's hard not to see a societal grievance when this happens again and again in some form. Siggy says, you study for 3 years and realize you're basically a horse trader. Carlos Fandango says, I have heard similar comments from others in your profession. What does he mean by horse trader? Like, what does that mean?
I think it's like, you're making, it's not so much that you're not holding the torch of liberty and like warding off demons from people who are accused falsely of crimes. You're like, it's more of like a negotiation that is almost that doesn't involve the foundational things. It's all like I'll give you this for that. I'll like in his case, he's like, I guess the prosecutor offered him non-criminal disorderly conduct, and while the kid probably wasn't, shouldn't even been punished with that, given that the prosecutor was, breaking the same law, it made sense for Siggy to accept that, given that the alternative could be worse. And Siggy was like, it was early in his career. So you end up negotiating not for what things are worth, but like kind of what you can get, which is like in horse trading. It's all, kind of messy human stuff, and not necessarily fair, rather political and biased and subjective.
Yeah. Great post from Siggy. Siggy's the man. He'll get to a Bitcoin probably before anybody, I think. Right? Look at this.
He'll get
2 million. He'll get to a full Bitcoin before anybody.
He's stacking fast. I mean, it was like Zach. It was like 6 months ago. Kevin and I were discussing this the other day. 6 months ago, Kevin had Siggy on his podcast where he had earned 500,000 sats, and now he's at like 2 million. So it's crazy.
Awesome. My top story of the week is from Pleb Poet. This is for whom the bell toes gives forth turning vibes. 16,000 sats, 15 comments. Yeah, I haven't read this, to be honest, but I just wanted to share it. Like, Jana's like always, she's like super talented, like whether it's the drawing, the coloring, the painting, the writing, the poetry, she does it all. So it's just wanted to share this because it's on my list of stuff to read this weekend. But yeah.
Did you read it? I read. I ended up reading it. Yeah, I thought it was really good, and I'm happy to see Jana writing on Stacker News again. Elvis Mercury and I like were attempting to cajole her into writing, and it seems like she did. But it's cool. It like weaves in. It really tells. I think like it tells like three stories for me. There's the For Whom the Bell Tolls, which I haven't read, and then it tells kind of the story, a little bit of the fourth turning, and kind of begins telling, I think, a little bit of the story of father, like patriarchs and families, to kind of get like a vibe that Jana has this sense of her own family, and then ties it now back in, like weaves it back around into Bitcoin, and like what happens now for Bitcoiners when the world is kind of in a bit, like, seems like it's on the verge of some kind of crisis, just like the character Jordan is, and For Whom the Bell Tolls. Anyways, it's like a really fun read. This is like the type of stuff that I would be incapable of writing, because it's so lateral in terms of like moving through a lot of different ideas. Anyway, I thought it was very good.
Yeah, Stackers, Zapper, right there. Boom, boom. Yeah. She also has right here, flubpoet.com. So definitely check that out. She has a lot of writing there. I think her first book's on there too. So that's it for the top stories of the week. We're gonna jump into top stackers. Keyan. Look at the top stackers this week.
We also had a release. We did image
Oh,
uploading.
my bad. Yeah. Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah. I forgot to do the meta.
It's cool. It's just it's literally just the title. So now you can upload images to Stacker News, and that's yay. That's the thing. People have been waiting for this for literally forever, because I'm lame and I didn't do it. But
why didn't you do it before?
Now, guys.
Just because you're scared about all the crazy stuff that could get uploaded? Is that why? Or
no, it's just I have so many things to do that it's like image uploading wasn't a priority so much as like some of these other things that we've been working on. And because you can upload images anywhere. Like I'm mostly interested in the product doing things that other products don't do, rather than all the things that existing products do. That just seems kind of boring to me. But it's clearly something really important, and I'm actually very thankful that we have it, because I've been using it a ton. So cool.
Yeah. Got the top stackers of the week. Got Siggy 47, Darth Coin, Elvis Mercury, Cube still back up there, Undisciplined Onions, Gray Ruby Rsync. Yeah. A lot of stackers.
A lot of top stackers.
Let's get into the most boring segment in Bitcoin. Rook. Wow, dude. Rook, he just came in stealth, just took the top spot. What a boss.
Yeah, he uncloaked himself.
Stay humble.
Because he had been hiding his hat, I think, for a while, and I guess it's.
I know. As soon as you said, he's like, he just did it. He unleashed on everybody. He's the most bullish cowboy out there. So it's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool. It's kind of cheating, because he came up with the idea. So, but
you came up with the rules, man. You came up with who came up with the rules? Did you come up with the rules, or he did?
I believe it. I'd prefer to just say it was all him, because I don't actually know. I implemented it. I think that's pretty much. It's his idea.
Stackers,
so he knows the rules.
Stackers, we're finding out who's really running Stacker News now. We're finding out behind the scenes.
That's right, guys.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I got Siggy 47, Orthworm, Gray Ruby, Carmen. Yeah, Carmen's still there. Thank God. That's who my guy is right there.
We'll see for how long Carmen can hang on. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, he's got the cowboy permable on his startups. His co-founder with him, who he was in a comment thread. I don't know if he was serious or not, but he was like he sounded genuinely upset, and someone asked him if he was genuinely upset, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm genuinely upset." And I don't know whether he's just like, not being serious or not, but I don't know whether to feel bad or to laugh. But poor man, that man.
Keyan, what are you doing this weekend?
What am I doing? I think I'm going to go. There's like some things I still want for my office. When I get a new space, I get insane. I get like totally insane, and I want everything to be exactly how I want it, because then I'll just I feel at peace. So I want to get like a bookshelf, and then I want to see if I can find. We're just gonna go thrifting this weekend, I think, for some of these, like a bookshelf, and then I want like a nautical artwork of some kind. That's like, for some reason, that's what I want, and when I'm very particular, so that's probably what I'll end up getting. I'll maybe put it behind me, so it's not like just like white, like I'm not in like an emergency room. What are you doing this weekend?
Coming back to the lab. It's still got a lot of stuff to set up, and mainly the podcasting production stuff. Got to set that up tomorrow, and then after that, get some other work done. So I'm gonna be busy.
Busy week, yeah. The lab is coming together. I'm really liking it. So
yeah, when you get out of your office, you can tell, right? When you get out of there, when you finally
leave. Got a lot of shit to do, man. Maybe someday I'll not have anything to do anymore, and then I can.
I will say this: I hardly see you. I hardly see you now. I feel like before I saw you all the time, and that's kind of sad to say. I'm like, I usually see you all the time. Now I don't know if I run into you that often during the day. Maybe like once. And it's actually a smaller space, which is weird. You would think.
Yeah, you're just far. I mean, at the last place, you basically set your desk like inside of my door. Like I could hardly close my door. You were like, basically, you tried to move it inside actually at first, and I was like, no, Carl, this is my office. And then you moved it. You finally moved it
attached to the hip.
I
was attached to the hip. Now and broke away, ran away. I'm in the front.
Yeah, you flew the Stacker News nest, and yeah, I mean, I'll pass by you several times in the day, but you're like in the zone now, and because I'm not like in your, Anyway,
it's good. Yeah. It's good for you. You get stuff done. I usually bothered you all the time, but now I don't bother you as much.
I mean, not in a bad way. I was mostly bothered by the music. That would get on my nerves. Like I'm in the middle of. Yeah, but you're far away, and but like when we were at the office, it'd just be like me, you, and one other person or something. And I'm in the middle of trying to solve something where like my brain is like literally like the slightest thing could take me out of a groove to solve a problem. And you're playing whatever music you're playing, or you're like humming. You'll do like this humming. Anyway, we don't got to get into this now, but
that's funny. That's hilarious. So I'm responsible for the images. By me moving allowed you to get the images done.
That's right. It wouldn't have happened without that. I mean, obviously, it was completely Exius's work. So, but I was able to merge it. Yeah, because of that.
You're welcome, Stackers. All right, cool. Well, have a great weekend, Stackers. Have a great time. I think next week we're still doing one for Thanksgiving. So we'll do our Thanksgiving special next week, and then we'll come back. Yeah, it'll be cool.
Car's going to dress up as a turkey. Yeah.
Yeah, you think so? Maybe. Who knows?
You should.
I might. Dude, we're getting decorations. We're going to be doing a Friendsgiving next Saturday. So
here at the lab?
Cool. Yeah, at the lab. Yeah. Hannah's like putting it all together and stuff. So it'll be really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you later, Stackers.
Is that